The progression of the United States of America from 13 British colonies into the current republic was a complex political process that spanned nearly 15 years. Many government institutions, such as the United States Department of State and the Smithsonian Institute, dichotomized the U.S. Republic's founding into two simple governmental components. First, a unicameral government that they named the Continental Congress, and second, the current tripartite constitutional system, which is composed of the United States House of Representatives and Senate in Congress assembled, the President of the United States of America, and the United States Supreme Court. This division of the United States founding governments into the Continental Congress and the current U.S. political system is also endorsed by the United States Congress on its many websites. Even their most potent website, the Biographical Directory of the U.S. Congress, incorrectly reports that the Continental Congress was the only other form of U.S. government that existed before 1789. Consequently, even casual readers on the period are besieged by conflicting dates, evidence, and facts in works ranging from peer-reviewed scholarly essays to Wikipedia articles that cloud fundamental issues such as discerning the true date of U.S. independence or identifying the first U.S. head of state, or even determining what body of law was the first U.S. Constitution. The U.S. founding convolution is universally apparent in everything from school textbooks to Library of Congress exhibits. Even the U.S. Supreme Court, in its opinions, does not recognize a difference between the Continental Congress and the Articles of Confederation's constitutional government, the United States in Congress assembled. These misunderstandings stem from the failure of historians and politicians to establish a sound framework and nomenclature for the early United American republics that eventually formed the current Republic of the United States of America. This video summarizes my book, America's Four Republics, the More or Less United States, which proposes a primary source framework and nomenclature for illuminating three different United American republics that governed from 1774 to 1789, eventually forming the current United States Republic. Before I begin the breakdown of the U.S. founding into four distinct different republics, it is important to define the word republic as it was viewed by the United States founders and their contemporaries. It was Baron de Montesquieu's work, The Spirit of Laws, published in 1748, that defined the three different types of 18th century governments as republican, monarchical, and despotic. It was the former, republican, that the founders adopted in their governmental systems that united 13 British colonies and later states in North America. The founders agreed with Montesquieu when he defined that the republic form of government is a convention by which several smaller states agree to become members of a larger one which they intend to form. It is kind of an assemblage of societies that constitute a new one, capable of increasing by means of new associations till they arrive to such a degree of power as to be able to provide for the security of the united body. The first United American Republic to meet this definition of an 18th century republic was the United Colonies of America. Originally called the United Colonies of North America, this republic was founded on September 5, 1774, by 12 colonies at Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia. The delegates elected Virginia's Peyton Randolph as their first president and Pennsylvania's Charles Thompson as their Secretary of Congress. These United British Colonies of North America named their governing body a Continental Congress in the Articles of Association, which the delegates passed on October 20, 1774. Georgia would not participate as the 13th United Colony until the summer of 1775. In June of 1775, the United Colonies would earnestly engage in their common defense by appointing George Washington the commander-in-chief of their Continental Army after issuing a resolution that was a declaration setting forth the causes and necessity of taking up arms against Great Britain. The United Colonies, by organizing an army for its members' common defense, met the final requirement in Montesquieu's definition of what constituted an 18th century republic. The United Colonies of America, 13 British colonies united in a Continental Congress, therefore, is the first United American Republic, leading to the formation of the United States of America. The United Colonies of America's military defense against Great Britain would continue until July 2, 1776, when the Republic would transform into a second United American Republic by enacting this resolution. Resolved, that these United Colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, that it is expedient forthwith to take the most effectual measures for forming foreign alliances, that a plan of confederation be prepared and transmitted to the respective colonies for their consideration and approbation. This second United American Republic would not be named the United States of America until the 12 states enacted the Declaration of Independence on July 4, 1776. 5 days later, on July 9, 1776, the New York Provincial Congress would adopt the Declaration of Independence, making this resolution unanimous. The second United American Republic, the United States of America, was now 13 independent states united in a Continental Congress, with John Hancock serving as president and George Washington the commander-in-chief of the U.S. Army. With the passage of Lee's resolution and the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Continental Congress was now faced with the challenge of transforming the voluminous United Colonies legislation into a U.S. Constitution capable of uniting and governing the 13 independent states. The Constitution's deliberations would be interrupted by the war, with Congress being forced to flee from Philadelphia to Baltimore, then back to Philadelphia, only to take flight once again to Lancaster and then York, Pennsylvania. On November 14, 1777, in York, Pennsylvania, the U.S. Continental Congress passed the first Constitution of the United States of America, the Articles of Confederation. This Constitution, however, required the ratification of all 13 states for its enactment. Due to Western land disputes, the Articles of Confederation were not unanimously ratified until February 2, 1781. On February 22, 1781, it was unanimously resolved by the U.S. Continental Congress that the delegates of Maryland, having taken their seats in Congress with the powers to sign the Articles of Confederation, ordered that Thursday next, March 1, 1781, be assigned for completing the Confederation. On March 1, 1781, the Articles of Confederation were adopted by the U.S. Continental Congress, and the Third United American Republic was born, the perpetual union of the United States of America. The following day, Congress convened under the new Constitution as the United States in Congress assembled. Their first act of business, after the roll call naming Samuel Huntington as president, was to disqualify both New Hampshire and Rhode Island from voting in the new assembly because they did not meet the minimum 2-delegate requirement, being present under the Articles of Confederation's new government. It would not be until 1787 that the United States in Congress assembled would enact legislation calling for a convention to revise the Articles of Confederation to render the federal Constitution adequate to the exigencies of the government and the preservation of the Union. The Philadelphia Convention on September 17, 1787 formulated the new Constitution, completely discarding the Articles of Confederation, and it only required 9 states for its adoption. On September 28, 1787, the United States in Congress assembled resolved to send the new Constitution unchanged for ratification by the states. 1 year later, with only 11 states approving the Constitution of 1787, the United States in Congress assembled and enacted a plan to commence the Fourth United American Republic on March 4, 1789. The House convened on April 1st, the Senate on April 6th, and George Washington took the presidential oath of office on April 30th, 1789. On November 12, 1789, North Carolina joined the Union. On February 1st, 1790, the Supreme Court assembled for the first time. And finally, on May 29, 1790, Rhode Island became the 13th state to join the Fourth United American Republic. This is Stan Klos. Thanks for webbing in.